Sea. Fish swimming through globs of oil 20 miles offshore that poured from this well BP hopes to plug tomorrow. The technique's called a top kill. From a drill ship, engineers will pump a heavy mud mix a mile underwater and hope to clog the gushing well.
We need to be realistic about the issues around operating in a mile of water. We rate the probability of success of somewhere between 60 and 70%.
But BP has already made critics angry again. When the top kill begins, the company plans to turn off its real-time underwater cameras. In Jackson, Mississippi, family and friends remembered the 11 crewmen killed when BP's rig exploded. Men like Gordon Jones. His second son was born a month after his death. Back in the oyster beds, the Lasanes have no idea what to do next.
I'm mad as hell because my children have no future now.
They have fished these waters for 5 generations.
How do you recover from that?
You don't.
This is called a live well. It keeps fresh catch alive like this crab. It was caught on Saturday, the last day before the fishing ban went into place that has so crippled this area's economy. Unless BP's top kill succeeds, this could be one of the last crabs caught in these waters for some time. Katie?
Mark Strassman. Mark, thank you very much. Frustration over the spill has been simmering for weeks, even in the Oval Office. We learned today that in the first days of this crisis, an angry President Obama snapped at a meeting, quote, "Plug the damn hole." The president will head to the Gulf Coast on Friday, his second visit in about 4 weeks. The president is likely to get an earful from people there, just as I did when we gathered 6 local business people in a Grand Isle restaurant to talk about the disaster and the response. Are you frustrated as day after day goes by and this leak still isn't plugged?
That's the most frustrating part of it, is find a way. Somebody has to know an answer to that, to plug it. And as long as it keeps spewing, we're in trouble. We're in more and more trouble every day.
Who are you angriest at?
Whoever's in charge of not plugging it.
And who do you think that is?
Well, it's BP or one of the oil companies that's involved with all the drilling.
What about the government? Some people are getting angry at the federal response.
Well, I guess it's a trickle effect. You just upset at every one of them that has anything to do with this.
What about you, Lanny? How are you feeling now that it's been more than a month?
There's a numbness that we're all very angry. I know that.
How would you like the federal response to this disaster to be different?
I think the response to the disaster has to be taken out of BP's hands, because they're oilmen. They know how to drill for oil. They know how to get the oil out of the ground. They're not in disaster response. They have no experience in that.
What is your biggest frustration about this effort and the way it's being conducted?
I feel like there's a lot of leaders and not a lot of followers, and as he said, the buck is being passed from one person to the next. We kept coming up with ideas, but it seems like we're not really moving forward fast enough. I mean, this oil just keeps coming out. It gets closer to our beaches.
What do you think about the way BP and the government is handling this?
Number one, the government is totally incapable of handling it, because this is a business, and I think they're at the edge of their technical abilities right now. And I'm not an expert in subsea drilling, but I have nephews and sons that work in that business, and they're telling me, you know, this should have been done differently from the beginning. You know, it's BP's responsibility. They call the shots. That's all there is to it.
Do you think the government should be calling the shots more now, though, now that it's turned into an environmental disaster?
Who out of Washington can come to the Gulf of Mexico and tell them how to run a drilling rig? That's the problem.
So they don't have the technical expertise.
You're right. Washington doesn't have that capability.
The Deepwater Horizon exploded 5 weeks ago today. It was one of about 3,500 oil and gas platforms in the Gulf regulated by the Minerals Management Service, a branch of the Interior Department. President Obama has complained about that agency's cozy relationship with the oil industry. And Cheryl Atkinson tells us a new report today reveals just how cozy.
Government inspectors at the dysfunctional Minerals Management Service, MMS, were often little more than consorts of the industry they regulated, according to the IG. Inspectors even went so far as to let oil companies literally fill out their own inspection reports. They'd use pencil. MMS inspectors would write on top of the pencil in ink and turn in the completed form. MMS is also supposed to investigate accidents and make recommendations to prevent their recurrence. But we dug through reports involving BP or Transocean dating back to 2006. In every case but one, MMS made no recommendations at all.
Too cozy a relationship, in many cases criminal activity by getting too close and taking favors from the industry.
The cozy ties included workers who've moved between industry and government jobs with ease, friends who've often known each other since childhood. MMS staffers accepted gifts from their oil industry friends, trips to the Peach Bowl, invitations to skeet shooting, crawfish boils, hunting and fishing vacations. One employee inspected a company 4 times while negotiating a job there. Another may have been on crystal meth while he was conducting an inspection. Others had inappropriate humor and porn on their government computers. With possibly months to go before the gusher is plugged, there's more wrangling over liability. On Capitol Hill, outrage was directed at the rig's owner, Transocean. It plans to pay out $1 billion in dividends to shareholders.
They want to give $1 billion back to their shareholders at a time when I think there might be very substantial liability questions.
For a company that said it did nothing wrong, this company is working pretty hard to insulate itself from being held responsible.
Assistant Attorney General Pirelli reminded Congress that BP has promised to pay all the bills.
You may be the last person in America who trusts or believe what BP says. It doesn't matter.
The Obama administration has already announced plans to fix MMS. The misconduct happened before 2009, but now the Inspector General will look at conduct since 2009. Katie?
Cheryl Atkinson reporting from Capitol Hill. Thank you.